Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Brandon here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Alan, and he's selling his Amazon FBA and e-commerce business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Alan, and how are you doing today?
Great, Brandon. Thanks for having me, and very pleased to be with you today.
Yeah, it's nice having you on the call, and I'm excited to speak to you about this business you've been managing. But before we get into too much, let's give a general overview. So it is an Amazon FBA and e-commerce business in the pet care niche that was created in May 2015. The average monthly revenue for the business is $36,809 and makes an average of $6,517 per month in net profit. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 50464 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, what's included in the sale is the Amazon Seller Central account and 34 SKUs, and that includes 13 SKUs on Amazon and 21 on Shopify, the domain and all site content and files, a trademark, an email list with over 3,101 contacts stored in MailChimp and Shopify, social media accounts for Facebook and Instagram, and it is worth noting that normally the list price does not include the inventory, but further information can be provided to active buyers. So, Alan, now that I've given a general overview of the business, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Sure, yeah, I'd love to. So I come from a background of serial entrepreneurs and sort of had businesses in a wide-ranging industries from hospitality, telecommunications. In 2015, I started this particular business, which is in the pet care niche, really sort of dedicated the first couple of years to running this business. At the same time, we built an award-winning flower or rose delivery business that delivers flowers nationwide. We've also got a legal tech startup. Now it's going through sort of Series A funding that's picked up a lot of steam with this sort of COVID environment. And we've also made 2 acquisitions in the skincare or beauty niche in the last 6 months. So the background is quite diversified, but is very sort of entrepreneurial.
Yeah, it sounds like you have your hands in quite a few projects right now. So with this particular business that you're selling, why choose this specific business model as far as Amazon FBA and e-commerce?
Yeah, so obviously there are those that are maybe familiar with the Amazon FBA model and all the lack of friction to get into the marketplace. You know, Amazon provides a wonderful opportunity to build and develop a brand, which is what I'm good at, and they really sort of take care of the sort of the logistical aspect of the operation. So those that are not so familiar with the FBA model, and as I said, it does lend itself really well to entrepreneurs who are good at brand building. And that's sort of where excited me initially about that FBA model, was that you could effectively outsource a large part of your operational side of your business.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one great thing about utilizing such a large platform such as Amazon, as they already have a lot of that, the logistics and a few of the other features, as you had mentioned, already figured out for you. Now, so with this particular business, you have Amazon FBA income and e-commerce through the Shopify store. What would you say is primarily making the most money for the business at this time?
I would really say that the Shopify aspect of it doesn't create a great margin in the business. The business currently, and for the last couple of years, has got lots of reviews in the Amazon marketplace. So customers do reach out to you automatically because you're an established brand. You know, when someone Googles your business, there's hundreds of articles or reviews that come up. So naturally, you know, a lot of people use the Amazon website as the sort of the search engine nowadays. And so as long as they can find you on Amazon, see you have a history and a track record and hundreds of reviews, you provide great customer service, they are more inclined then to come and shop from you directly nowadays. And we've seen sort of that without doing any sort of marketing, and the Shopify model really sort of does add more margin or fat, if you like, into the business.
Okay, so you would say that Amazon FBA is generating a majority of the revenue for this business then?
It is generating most of the revenue, yeah.
Okay.
But in terms of, but where the Shopify does add is not so, I guess, if you don't look at it from a revenue perspective, but from a margin perspective to the bottom line, that plays a large role.
Okay, gotcha. Now, so if the business is doing so great at this time, Alan, why is it that you've decided you'd like to sell it?
Yeah, good question. So, as I said, the legal tech startup, think of it as, without getting into the weeds here, it's like a Slack for the law industry. It's been highly reviewed, and we've got Thomson Reuters now as a cornerstone investor and partner in the business, and a few others coming on board now. So that over the last 18 months has taken up a lot of my time as I handle a lot of the strategy investor initiatives. In October, the acquisition was finalized, but we really started in May of last year targeting couple skincare brands. Those opportunities sort of came through a contact. These opportunities came up, and we looked at them, and we've acquired one of them and are about to acquire the second one. So unfortunately, time-wise, I am very short on it. And if, to be quite frank and honest, the business hasn't had my full attention for the last 18 months. And that's simply, a lot of that is because I'm built to build things in terms of brands and look at opportunities in M&A. I've done M&A, probably a total of up to about $80 million of M&A over my career, both in corporate and running businesses directly. And so, my skill set is very geared towards around branding, marketing, and growth. What this business does need is a new, fresh set of eyes and owners who, they're process driven and are willing to sort of, get into the business, spend the time to make it run more efficiently, and obviously, tap into the growth potential of the pet care niche. So those would be the main reasons why. So the predominant reason, though, is simply just time. Now, there's only one of me, and it's whilst the other businesses have other partners and there's teams and shareholders involved, I've really found sort of the last 18 months just difficult to juggle all the balls in the air.
Yeah, that's completely understandable. And, as mentioned already, having your hands in multiple projects, it can be a bit tiresome as far as having any extra time to really focus on, this current project. So I completely understand that. Now, was there anything that you had learned with this business that you plan on applying to future or current projects down the road?
Yeah. So the key takeaway here is the value of customer service that I've sort of, really found through this niche and the product set we offer. Offering that level of customer service has sort of had a huge down channel effect on obviously whether it's recurring revenue, or customer loyalty, customers coming back, spreading the word, that's sort of that indirect marketing where people, are singing your praises to their neighbors and friends and family. And so that's really been the largest takeaway for me, is the value that it has. When people search for the brand, they look for the brand, invariably the customer service that has been provided through this brand for such a period of time now. So we're looking at 5 years, 6 years, would certainly be the first thing that they focus on, and really the main reason why they end up choosing the brand.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good focus that, you can utilize these, different tasks and things that you've learned with this business and apply those down the road. Now, was there anything that you tried with this business and it just didn't give you the ROI that you were expecting?
Look, I think we tried to move away a couple times from, what the brand is sort of known for. And so I would, look at initially really sort of building out. There's a huge opportunity, obviously, in related products that can be offered. What I would recommend is that sort of starting there more than sort of just, throwing darts across the pet niche, would be sort of leveraging the email list. There's also, because the account has the ability or has had such an existence on Amazon for such a period of time, through third-party data matching, there's also access to 11,000 other emails that are Sitboo customers who have purchased, Amazon products. And so there's just a real opportunity to sort of just offer products that are very closely tied to its current offering.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And, a great opportunity for a potential buyer to come in and utilize and focus on those particular operations to scale the business further. Now, can you describe some of the typical work or the tasks that you're performing on the business at this time on a weekly basis?
Yeah, sure. So really, at the moment, the business was relocated as well over the past 6 months. So we were operating out of Seattle, Washington. We had a couple of people involved directly with the team who were there on a daily basis. So currently, I'm handling most of the business myself. And really, the key things here are sort of inventory management and customer service would be the two key things that I'm currently handling myself at this time.
And do you feel that there's any particular skill set that a buyer should already have prior to acquiring this business?
Not really. So there's obviously, depending on the buyer of the business, there's a flexibility here to sort of ease them into the business. So if they come from a background that doesn't have a lot of customer service experience, we can work with the buyer. We've got strong standard operating procedures that will sort of can work with the buyer over a transition period to help them, ease them into running this business. If the buyer has a team that does handle customer experience and things like that, we can obviously work with them and have strong documentation to sort of, help them take over on day one. So really what I would say is that based on sort of the buyer's location or place in their sort of e-commerce journey, we would be sort of flexible to sort of, to accommodate their takeover of the business.
Okay. Yeah, that's really great to hear. And we'll get a little bit deeper into the, support that you'll be offering potential buyers. But I'm curious, do you feel that there's any particular risks associated with this business that a buyer should be aware of prior to acquiring it?
Yeah, so look, I would say like any business that is heavily Amazon focused, obviously you play in their sandbox. So, there is always that underlying risk of businesses that are sort of FBA oriented is that, I think everyone who's had experience with FBA is for whatever reason has come across an issue with Amazon that obviously gets resolved over time, but there are obviously, delays in generating revenue and things like that. So that can obviously be mitigated by, really sort of tapping into that email list and growing the off Amazon channel part of the business. But I would say that would be sort of the main underlying risk is that sort of whenever you're operating on sort of a third-party platform, you are at the behest of their rules and regulations.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing that we do have quite a few sellers tell us as well when you're, at the mercy of Amazon being, they are the the platform owners. Now, So, moving forward after the acquisition, Alan, are you willing to commit to a non-compete, meaning you'll stay out of this specific niche further down the road with current or future projects?
Absolutely, yeah, without question. So certainly able to sign at least a 2-year non-compete in this space.
Got it. That's good to hear. And then how much support are you willing to offer potential buyers? Are you going with the typical 30 days of email and Skype support, or did you have something in addition that you would like to add on to that?
Yeah, so I'm more than happy to extend that to 90 days. Obviously, we can work through some additional terms during that period of support. That will obviously depend how hands-on that support is going to be, which can obviously, we can either, having done M&A on a few occasions, there's always ways to just sort of, be flexible in the deal structure to accommodate these things. They're not real big hurdles that cannot be overcome. So happy to go as little or, as I said, push it out for at least to 90 days to give the buyer some comfort in taking over the business.
Yeah, it's really great to hear. And I'm sure any potential buyers that are listening to this call can also see the added value and that extra support you're willing to offer them as well, too. Now, are you open to negotiating something like an earnout where you'll receive a large portion of the sales price up front and then smaller payments closing out the deal over the course of a couple months after that?
Yeah. So again, understand that, any person that's in business, cash is king and cash flow is very important. Mm-hmm. And obviously coming into a new business, they'll have ways they want to run it. They may want to invest heavily in inventory for the first couple months. Again, that's fine, and be more than happy to look at there's different ways of structuring it to accommodate that and, tie into an earnout if that's what makes it, I guess, attractive for both parties. So there's going to have to be some give and take there. Happy to concede some cash on day one to obviously get the deal across the line, but obviously then, you want to make sure that as much of the asking price is met.
Yeah, completely understandable. And that's, again, something you can always discuss during the negotiations. And as you had mentioned, making sure that it's, something that's right for both parties is key there.
Yeah.
Perfect. So just a few more sideline questions for you to wrap this up, Alan. So what advice would you give to our listeners that you wish you knew when you first started this business?
Yeah, so the first thing that I would look at is draw yourself a mind map, draw yourself a diagram of your ecosystem and really your customer touch points. So how the customer interacts with your brand, whether that's on your website and then through email, how it looks like when they open your packaging, ways that they can easily download manuals, guides, ebooks. So really sort of study that and make it as frictionless as possible for them to reach out to you. And then the other thing that I've really recently discovered, again, sort of being in the skincare niche for the last 5 months, has really been the power of email and what it means and how easy it becomes to just, you send out an email and you generate revenue. When you have a proper sort of structured email behind the business, you cannot, downplay how important that is, how much margin that adds to the business, and obviously how much, it does, again, we don't want to take business away from Amazon, but the more business that you can secure sort of on your own site, the more value your business is going to hold.
Yeah, it's really solid words of advice. And, as you had mentioned, having the control over the email list compared to maybe a third-party platform is also something that a lot of, business owners have told us recently has been a great revenue driver for their business models. So that's really great to hear you have that, similar take on that approach. And then final question for you, Alan. So putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you feel that your business is worth buying?
I think, the longevity of the business is certainly one thing. So it's been around since 2015. It's in a particular niche in the pet space that does have some barriers to entry that is difficult to reach the mass of reviews that it has. And I think it really is a solid platform either for someone to just bolt on to an existing business and really sort of, get their team to market and grow, or it's someone to really sort of, use as a sort of a footing, as sort of a foundational piece to sort of, jump into the FBA waters. And over time, revenues, fluctuate with seasons and things like that. But, you have a business that's been around since 2015. It does carry some weight in the marketplace.
Yeah, it's great that you've already have that kind of foundation and that structure behind, the time the business has been around. And I'm sure, potential buyers that are looking at this listing can also see the value in that and what you've created here. So that pretty much wraps up this call. And was there anything else that you'd like to add in that I might have missed?
No, just that, as I said, always open to answer any questions. And as I said, I come from, a background that has experience in M&A. So as I said, I'm open to multiple ways of sort of structuring deals and quite flexible in making that happen.
That's really great to see that. And I'm sure our potential buyers that are looking at this listing as well can also see the value in that and the extra support you're willing to offer them too. And that pretty much wraps up this call. So thanks again for jumping on the call, Alan, and really looking forward to seeing this listing getting sold for you here in the near future.
Thanks very much for your time, Brandon. It was a pleasure.
All right, same here. And all right, everyone. So thanks for listening. To learn more and to see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 50464. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.